In the introduction video for this course on Coursera's site, on the main page for this site, I talk about metadata for digital cameras. So I feel compelled to actually talk about metadata for digital cameras, even though, honestly, it's not all that different than other descriptive metadata schemas that we've taken a look at already. Now, naturally, the metadata from a digital camera is going to be deeper and contain more data about images and about the camera, etc. But it's still a descriptive metadata schema, and so it will be very familiar, and honestly, it just isn't that different in concept than other descriptive schemes that we've already looked at. So let's look now at the Exif format, which is probably the most common image format used by digital cameras today. There are several categories of metadata that's captured in an Exif record. And these are all, as you would expect, to do with the camera itself and the image. So you get the date and time. So a date and time stamp when that particular image was captured by the camera. You get things that don't change, like the camera make and model. And then you get things that do change about the camera, like the settings, the orientation. Is something in landscape mode or in portrait mode? The shutter speed, the aperture, the focal length, and a bunch of other things that I have no idea about because I'm not, a photo geek. You get a thumbnail, those tiny little images that are a small representation of a much larger image. You get a thumbnail, that's what's displayed on the digital camera's display. You get descriptions. You can add in descriptions that are more detailed later, but you get very small kind of abstract. You get fields to give an abstract for that image to describe what's in it. You get GPS data if your camera has support for GPS, or again, you can add that data in later if you've got the software to edit an Exif file, and there are several pieces of software out there that will allow you to do that. And then you get copyright information. There are dozens of elements that the Exif format includes, and I'm not going to go through all of them. I think the easiest thing to do here would probably just be to show you an Exif record. So let's do that. Now, you may remember from Unit 1 this photo of a goat that I tagged in my Flickr account. So let's use that. It's not a great photo, but it's mine, so the copyright issues are all mine. So there's this image of a goat in Flickr. So what I've done is I've gone to this website, which is Jeffrey's Exif Viewer. And that's not me, that's a different Jeffrey. I have no idea who it is, but whoever that Jeffrey is, he makes this very nice Exif Viewer application available on his website. So you give it the URL of a particular image, and it spits back the metadata that it extracts from the image. And the first thing you get is this basic information block. So you see what the camera is, what the lens is, what the date is that I took that photo, how large the file is, etc. So some very basic information about this particular photo. And then if you scroll down a little bit, here's the full data, it says. Here's the full data. And you get the full Exif record, which includes things like the file size, the make and model of the camera, as I said, the orientation, which is what I called earlier landscape mode instead of portrait mode, which is up and down like this, etc., etc. The creation date, bits per pixel, flash, says auto, did not fire, etc., right? I didn't use a flash to take that picture. It was just in natural light, etc., right? Now, this is all of the metadata that Jeffrey's Exif viewer was able to extract from my photograph. This is not all of the fields that exist in an Exif record. You can add in, as I said, a description. I don't have an abstract for this photo. If I had a piece of software that would allow me to edit Exif records, I could go in and add a little description. You know, this photo of a goat was taken in my front yard on whatever date, and here's why I had a goat in my front yard. You know, whatever data I wanted to add in. So that's really all there is to Exif. It's not, as I said, all that different than other descriptive metadata schemas that we've already looked at. It's got a set of elements and a set of values that are possible to apply to those values. For example, orientation, you're only going to get two values. You get landscape and portrait. As opposed to description, which of course, like any description field, even the one in Dublin Core, could be wide open. You want to be able to add any string of text in that particular field. So some of these Exif values are going to be controlled in that way. There may be controlled vocabularies, for example, the possible list of makes or models of digital cameras in the world versus an uncontrolled vocabulary like description. So if you're curious about the metadata that's being captured by your digital camera, there's this Exif viewer and lots of others out on the web as well.